Workshop tonight, so it's not formal, like a formal meeting. It's just for the board to work through the budget. We won't take public comment, at least initially. We'll kind of just work through it. If you really have a burning question that you can't wait, we'll answer it, but for the most part, it's just for the board members to work through this first process. There will be public comment on the budget once it's voted on by the board at a public meeting. It'll be advertised for 20 days, and then public comment will be taken following that 20-day advertisement period. That's standard procedure. It's how it's been done forever. Go ahead, Cindy.
Okay. The first section is the real property taxes.
Is your microphone, maybe bend it toward, I just want to make sure the people that aren't here can hear it.
Okay. Is the real property taxes. You'll see a substantial increase under the current real estate taxes. That is because we were thinking about incorporating the fire tax fund into the general fund. So we're bringing that tax base into the general fund. So that is why there's such a large increase there. So other than that, the Tax Claims Bureau, their tax collection is up. So other than that, that's why there's a large increase in that section.
So just for clarification too, because I asked Cindy this earlier, we're not changing the millage, we're not changing the increase. All we're doing is we agreed to take over the payments of the fire departments. So in order to do that, we had it separate before where it was like general fund and then fire tax that was distributed to the three fire companies. Now, since it's being paid out of our own general fund, or it should be being paid out of our own general fund, we're just lumping that together. Nothing's gonna change from a tax perspective or a millage perspective. It's simply an accounting thing so that we make sure that we're paying the fire department's bills. That's all that is.
So
Does that make sense?
So are you saying that this $3,140,000 is going to be a lot of the fire tax in it?
Not a lot. It's about $600,000 when you do the millage. It's not exactly $600,000. I don't remember the exact amount, but it's about $600,000. So in the past, it would have been $3,140. Let me do that. $3,140 plus $600. So in the past, it would have been broken up where it would have said real estate tax, $2.5 million, fire tax, 500 and whatever the exact dollar amount was.
So now it's all going to be incorporated.
Now it's all lumped together because we're paying their bills anyway.
So we're going to pay all the fire department's bills.
We have been. Remember, that's what that vote was that we took in July, I think it was. We've been, I just signed, like they bring in all their bills to Chief Mack. He signs them and then gives them to Cindy, and Cindy issues checks for them.
And that's all coming out of the fire tax, nothing as far as donations or anything that are being made to the
Correct.
fire departments. In other words,
They keep their own donations.
they keep their own donations, they keep everything that they make as far as bingo or anything that they do. That's all their,
Correct.
and they can use that as they would like to.
Yeah, we have, I don't want to say control, it's not right. We have no interest in being a part of that. That's their money to do with whatever they wish. We simply are just using the fire tax to pay things like we pay their gas bill, we pay their electric bill. I'm trying to think,
We pay all utilities. We'll be making truck payments for them, repair bills on the trucks, on the equipment, maintaining the buildings, and things of that nature.
anything that was allowed, that they were allowed to use the fire tax money before, we will pay for. So I know that Mac was talking with one of the companies about getting new air packs. That's something that will come out of that money. If they need reimbursements for clothing, that comes out of our money, or out of the fire tax money. So, but if they want to host a party or have an open house and they want to use donation money for that, that's up to them. That's for them to decide what happens to that money.
Okay.
So that's just a cleanup. It was actually Tom's the one that pointed out, and I agree with him, that we need to clean that up because the money really is coming out of our general fund. And honestly, it allows us to spend a little bit more if we need to in the future on stuff. So say, for example, Matt comes to us and says, I really need to, because his salary will come out of that, we really need to pay part-time guys. Then now we have a fire department line item that we can, kind of like police, like we do with police, like we do with public works. We will have, when you go to, what section is it in expense, and I'm jumping ahead,
His expenses are 411.
411.
And you'll see when we get to that, that is expanded now to include more expenses.
Right. So it matches, it's similar to what we do for police and what we do for public works. So if you look under section 411, which is page 9 of 42, it shows the salary of the fire chief, salary of the fire code official, because that's his job. Volunteer stipend, that's that.
Where's that at?
Page 9, it's section 411 under expenses. So instead of this is new, this fire section is new, because we added the fire department to the revenue section, now we need to have an offsetting expense. And you'll see that all that stuff is in there.
So basically, that's, let's see,
It becomes
620, 760, $750,000.
Well, there's some money is under the current real estate tax because we do expect some more revenue because of new homes being built.
Okay, out of the 750,000, is that like where we gave, I think, roughly 180,000 to each department?
Yes.
That's included in this,
Yes,
right?
so that allows us to expand the fire department funds, which was the ultimate goal of taking it over, to recognize that, hey, volunteerism is kind of going away, we need them, and we hope they stay around for a long time, but we also recognize that we have to step up and start taking on some of these bills and payments, and so it will allow MAC as the chief to go through like a year of budgeting and say, okay, we're really spending a lot of money on, I can't even think, like air packs, and we need to increase that budget, but we need to put X number of dollars away for future trucks that we want to buy, things like that. It's the same, we do the exact same thing for, Sean does it for the police, Bill does it for public works. It's just a,
Okay, it just doesn't
we're not
seem like.
taking any money away.
Yeah, no, it just doesn't seem like a lot by the time we, give them the monies, max salary out of that, and other things, there's not a whole lot left.
That's actually more than they were getting in the past. In the past, they were getting about $560,000 per department. Now it's like $620,000. So it actually is an increase to their budget, not a decrease.
Not per department.
No,
That's
overall.
what you said per.
Yeah, you said.
For the fire department.
Yeah, they
To
should
me,
around
like, now it's
200,000.
one whole, instead of looking at it in the past where we were allocating to each department and then they were separating, it's one whole thing.
Pool of
So-
money, yeah.
Yeah, so that if they need to buy air packs, MAC will work with the chiefs of the department to buy them for whoever needs them out of our money instead of out of their
Okay.
separate money.
Plus, we can control some of the spending.
Right. It just makes it cleaner. There's like a fly flying in front of me. Does anybody see that? Sorry.
He moved over to you. He's
Yeah,
here.
I'm gonna move closer to you. It's like flying right in front of me. All right. Moving on. Go ahead, sorry, Cindy. We didn't get very far.
Okay, the next section, 310, the local tax enabling. Everything in that section is basically the same. The current EIT taxes, we budgeted slightly higher for that. Does anybody have any questions in that section?
I think you can just keep going, and if we have a question, somebody will speak up. Yep.
Okay.
So there's an increase in that of $397,425, that whole, between the,
100 and 700, yes.
what's that?
Yes, between items 100 and 700?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, 397,000.
Yes. Go ahead, Cindy.
Okay. Business licenses. The only thing that really is, we're expecting to go up in that area is franchise fees from Comcast. Road encroachment permits, we're budgeting just slightly higher in that area. The next section is fines. Fines, We're taking that down a little bit because they haven't been coming in where we had hoped they'd be. Magistrate fines, we've been averaging around 50 to 52,000 a year, so we're gonna budget that around 50,000. Ordinance violations is up a little bit, so we're gonna increase that slightly. Other than that, everything is just basically where it's been. The forfeits, restitution, and judgments, those are, we're not gonna count on anything coming in there. Interest rates are up, so we're budgeting higher in that area. Rents and royalties, it's the rent of this building of generations, and the royalties is what we receive off of one of the properties that we have. We get some money from Range Resources every month.
Okay, can I stop you right there?
What about Singer Park?
That's in park maintenance.
The CDs that she mentioned about, what are we getting on the Slovenian Savings and Loan CDs as far as the interest is concerned?
2%.
Are we only getting 2%?
Yes.
Isn't it gone up since all this has gone?
I just saw yesterday that it was up to 2.25, but we're locked into a CD. We can't switch it until it matures. So once it matures, then
But we can take it out at any time.
we can take it out at any
But
time.
we can't, we
talk to
can't
Bruce
break
and
in on the increase.
Just see, it's not a huge percentage. I just saw yesterday that it was 2.25. So if we're gonna do that, I would hold it for, because I think interest rates are gonna continue to go up. So maybe we reevaluate in
I
January.
know there's a couple places that are giving like almost 3.
Oh, really?
Yes, but it's.
That's funny. I just talked to Slovenia yesterday.
It's really not in the local
Oh.
banks, but
Maybe in January, we can give it a couple more months and see where interest rates go, and
I
then,
think we should watch that very carefully because that makes a difference on that kind of money.
for sure.
Federal operating grants, we're not budgeting anything there because you never know what you're gonna receive, if anything. Same with the American Rescue Funds, that's dried up now. Recreation grant, we're not budgeting anything there either. Shared revenues. Your PERDA grant, your PERDA, your liquor permits, pension, state aid, horse taming, foreign fire, and Act 13.
As an expense, but not.
Some of them are up slightly, so we budgeted according to what we either got in this year or what we're hoping for next year. Professional, in the next section, 361, charges for services. Professional plan review fees, we're hoping those will increase slightly next year. Public safety.
Oh, wait a minute, I got a question on that charges for services. So we're going to decrease it by $3,000 in 2023? The year forecast,
The year-end forecast for this year is 28,000.
yes, is that a loss of like 7,995?
Well, our plan review fees right now are at 14,000 for the year is what we're probably gonna make, so we're increasing that to 18 for next year.
Okay. So it's really a total of a decrease of like 3,000, correct?
Of what we budgeted for this year, yes.
That's what I thought, yeah, okay.
Public safety, that's where the special details are, that's when the police officers go out and work a special detail where we're able to charge the person for the detail that they work. DUI reimbursement, that's a grant that's received through North Bain Township for work that they do on the DUI checkpoints. Sale of accident reports, most of these are self-explanatory. The school district reimburses us 50% for school crossing guards, for school resource officers. If there's a fire inspection performed, we get fees for that. On the next page, the building
Fire
permits.
inspections.
What,
Who's doing the fire inspections?
fire inspections?
Max responsible.
Yeah. Sorry, Cindy, go ahead.
Building permits, occupancy permits. Finish that category off. The next one, highways and streets, 363, that's a contract with PennDOT for snow removal.
That's
on
for
Muse
Muse Bishop, yeah.
Sanitation, that's for the sale of recycling bins and any scrap metal that we have. Recreation, we have the pavilion rentals and the soccer field rental.
So that, well, that's actually wrong. That's gonna be higher too. Because that was based on that month and a half that we did in spring, but we've already accumulated $4,000 for fall. So leave it at 2,000 just so we don't over budget ourselves, but it's probably gonna be like 10 to 15 next year at a minimum. And Cannon Mac Soccer has agreed to compensate us in the spring season for like lost, I don't say lost income, but like if the maintenance of the park costs more than we're bringing in income, they will compensate us the difference for the days they're using. So we don't over budget, leave it at 2,000, but that's gonna be way higher in real life.
Okay. Contributions and donations from private sources. You know, that's something that you don't count on, so we don't budget for it. Proceeds of asset distribution, that's if we sell an old car or old equipment. But again, I don't know if that'll be done next year, so I'm not counting on it. Interfund operating transfers. We're gonna transfer in $875,000. 500,000 of that is going to come from money we have in the Act 13 money. We have that sitting in a separate account. So we're gonna transfer $500,000 in to specifically be used for the road program, part of the payment of the road program next year. 375,000 is going to come from a CD that we're gonna, put in that we had initially earmarked for a SOAR project.
Yes. Do you want me to explain what we're doing there? So we had put 330, well, it's accrued interest, but we put in a little over $300,000 towards our $1 million that we promised the Lawrence sewage people, which we had promised $1 million, we had 330-ish. We realized that that COVID money that we get, that there's such limitations on it, that we had $1 million in COVID money that we could put in for the Lawrence sewage project that would fully fund our contribution. So we wouldn't owe any additional monies next year. If they do the project tomorrow, we could write them a check. So we're gonna flip that $1 million in COVID money, it's called ARA money, into the budget so that that Lawrence sewage project contribution is fully funded. Well, that left us with that $330,000 that we had already saved.
I see that in there.
Yeah, over and above. So now we don't need that savings because we've already fully funded our contribution to Lawrence. And so now we have an additional
371.
yeah, or I'm sorry, 371, you're right, $1,000 that we can put back into our general fund budget. It gives us
And
a,
that was in the CD in
yeah,
Slovenian Savings.
yeah, it did well.
Yes, it did. It did very well.
Yeah, so Yeah, but it gives us extra money to put into our budget, and it fully funds, it allows us to use the COVID money that quite honestly, we were kind of weren't exactly sure what we were gonna do with it. It gives us a way, it fully funds our Lawrence sewage contribution, and it allows us to have an additional $337,000 or $371,000 in our budget. It's a win for everyone. And
So, right now with this Lawrence going ahead,
Mm-hmm.
but they're going to try and go ahead as soon as they I guess, as
Yeah.
soon as they possibly can. They got the bids and
Yeah.
everything. So we're able to give them that $1 million without any struggle on our end.
Correct. It is fully funded at this point. So if they come to us, if they have a meeting tomorrow and they come to us and say, we're ready for your $1 million, we can issue a check for $1 million and be done.
And where is that at now?
It's in Slovenian, isn't it?
No,
Yeah.
that million is in,
Click it.
Washington.
Oh, right.
So it doesn't show anywhere on,
No,
it doesn't show
it's in a-
anywhere on any of this paperwork.
No, because it's not part of our general fund. This is just the budget for our general fund. So like none of our savings or our CDs or our things like COVID money will show up as part of the general fund.
All right, then I have a question on the current bank account balance where they had closed out on February 17th, an account, and it was deposited into the general fund. How much was that, being that there's nothing there even in
I
parentheses?
don't know what you're looking at, so I need.
I'm looking at the paperwork that she sends us
She's
every month.
looking at
I try to
the-
watch all this, okay?
She's
August
looking at bank
31st.
balances, and that was only like $1.41 or something like that.
There was 10 cents.
What was it?
It was like $1.41. It
And that's
wasn't
what you
worth
closed out?
having, yeah, it wasn't worth
Okay.
having a separate account for $1.41.
All right.
The whole 10 cents in interest we got, we moved into the general fund.
Hey, everyone buy you about 3
If you
drops
go
of coffee.
back,
What are you talking
if
about?
I
you
don't
go
even-
back into earlier reports, you'll see what the balance was. It was less than $2.
Earlier than February 17th. Well, I don't get that. I didn't get that at that time.
Well, now you will, so now you can look in the future.
That's why I'm asking about
Yeah,
it.
our $1.71 was well spent in the general fund.
Okay.
That $1 million, we're not gonna give it to them till they have a project, right?
Right, correct. We're gonna hold on to it till they're ready, but my point in saying that was,
They may never have a project.
right, and my point in saying that was that, if they are the day they're ready, we're ready,
Right.
so, yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Cindy.
And then transfers from liquid fuels, 500,000, that'll come in from the liquid fuels fund to be used for the road program.
Bill, do we put our fuel out for bid?
Yes,
Every 3 years.
And then the refund from prior year expenses, if we have a good year, like for workers' comp and for other things, we'll get refunds on premiums and things of that nature. That brings us for the total of $12,559,861.
great job, the second time.
So that's a nice little increase of, what, 2 million?
I don't think it was 2 million fully.
From the 11 million as the YE forecast to 12,559,000.
No, it was 11, yeah,
Yeah, 11,003.
yeah.
Our budget,
And the
I'm sorry, our budget was the number right to the left.
10,540.
The
So the,
10,542,
2 million.
okay, yeah, 10, you're right, okay.
11,000.
but
is
we
what
brought
is
it, yeah.
Anticipated.
You're anticipating more money by the end of the year. Is that by the end of the year, or does that go into like,
No, that's.
We
by
run a,
December 31st.
yeah, we run a fiscal year, January 1st to December 31st every year.
okay.
All right, expenses. expenditures. Legislative body, the 400s. Basically, everything is the same there. 5% increase in health insurance, but everything else is basically the same in that category. 401 is executive, that is the administrative offices. There's slight increases in office supplies, postage, legal fees. The increases basically are because of inflation, not because anybody's asking for anything. It's just costs of items have increased. 402, financial administration, that would be my salary and the auditors. And there will be an RFP going out for auditors this year.
We do that once every 3 years.
Yes, the contract with auditors are for 3 years, normally. 403, oops, sorry, folks. 403 tax collection, that's the fee that you're gonna pay to Jordan for the collection of the real estate tax. 404 solicitor, the legal fees, that includes Strasburger, and it also includes Gatens for the,
Rommel for the CHJ, yeah.
So the budget of that was 125,000. We're up to what, 175,000?
Well, that's a year-end estimate. Right now, I pulled their bill, they're at 156.
152,887. Is that right?
No, hold on 1 second. I printed it. It was 156,000, just bear with me a second. I can pull it up on my computer. They're at 156, and then there's about, what would you say, Cindy, like about?
12 or 13,000 was for the,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, for the CHJA. And that's pretty much done at this point, for now. Can we come back to this one? I'll look up the actual thing. I swear I printed it.
407
Oh, wait, I
is-
found it. I lied. Can you bear with me? Sorry. Okay, so year-to-date billings from our current solicitors, 156, 648, 23.
What was that, Cindy? What did you say?
$156,648.23.
Okay, you got more than I got.
Well, we've only paid, that's what they've billed us. So we've paid $147,338.09. So somewhere there's an outstanding bill. I just signed a whole boatload of checks, including a check for
Yeah, I figured it
Gretchen.
was like 152,887.
That's probably just the difference in they haven't cashed a check that we've sent them. But what they've actually billed us for, so what we either have paid already or are going to have to pay, is $156,648.23. And I have it broken down, if you have any interest in it, by, like, matter, so like ABB property, CHJA, Connor Samuel, demolition of 22 Mawini, Durbin, like all these things. Can we talk about that publicly, or that's because it's litigation? That's what I was thinking. Well, not release the bills, but can we talk about the dollar amounts spent on each? Okay, okay. So if there's anything specific you want to know, I have it broken out by matter, by each item.
You mean you have it broken down by all the bills and everything that's been paid and?
So like, just as an example, let's go right to the top. We have paid, or we've been billed and paid $962.64 related to ABB. We've paid $79.40 related to CHJ, but that's because Romel Nicholas is the primary attorney on that, so that doesn't include his bills. Coal Valley's $1,604, demolition of 22 Mooney, $3,319.51. This is what I was talking about when I asked you if you wanted to sit down with Gretchen and go over some of the stuff.
Yeah, I think we should be able to try and cut some of these expenses that she does, that we could probably do some of this in-house and get down and sit down together as a board and not be getting her involved in everything at whatever her hourly salary is. I'm under the impression, and I don't know if I'm stating it exactly right, what she get, $185 an hour?
Her hourly rate actually I think is more than that, but then it varies on who she uses. So like if she gets involved, I can get you her exact hourly rate. It's this rate, but then Alexis does a lot of stuff for us at a lot lower rate. So, which we sat down with them last year, I think it was Tom and I did, and because their bill was even higher the year before, and asked them to bring it down, which they have. I had a conversation with her this morning because there's a large amount of bills that get lumped into general, and I was like, well, what falls into general? And I actually agree with you, and I had a conversation with her. Like some of the stuff, like we pulled her into the Historical Society for the township, allowing the Historical Society to take the jail. We probably didn't need her to. We ended up not using what she wrote anyways, because quite honestly, it was just too restrictive and wasn't at all what we were looking for. So I don't disagree with you that some of the things that we need to like back off use. We use her a lot for zoning, which gets lumped into that dollar amount. So I see a lot of stuff that she gets copied on, and I get copied on for between emails between Liz and residents. We can back off some of that too. I think there's savings to be had, which is why I sent you that message and asked if you wanted to sit in that meeting. I think there's savings to be had, and I think that Gretchen's more than willing to do it. We just have to be more specific and on the same page as a board with what we're actually looking for.
Right, because a lot of times she doesn't have to be included in writing letters or just because of legalese and everything. I'm sure that we have some intelligent people in here as employees that can cover some of this without saying, Gretchen, go do it, Gretchen, go do it.
I agree with you. I agree with you. So let's sit down and talk to her, but in the meantime, I think we can afford the budget balances with that 175 number in there. Let's leave that in there, and let's hope that we can sit down and have a conversation and bring that number actually down. Because we really didn't have like a heavy litigation year. When you look at all the things, there were very few items that actually went to court, and the ones that went to court didn't really cost us a ton of money. What ended up costing us a lot of money was the general stuff. So.
That's what I mean too, some of the general stuff, we could probably do a lot of that on our own without costing our taxpayers money.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, sorry, Cindy, go ahead.
407 is the IT, so that's computer software and services. That's for support services, upgrades to software, things of that nature. Engineering services, I did put a little bit of an increase in there simply because there will be a road program, a $1 million road program next year. So there will be an increase in engineering services next year. 409.
We can sit down with him too. We have the right to sit down with professionals and talk to them.
That sent me up from Klinger Road, that design for that building, it's terrible.
Yeah. Ron, do you want to sit down with me? We can sit down with Gateway. I think we can all attend as long as it's just an informational thing, right? Yes.
Yes.
We can I'll set a meeting up with Dan, and we can all kind of sit down and set our expectations. If somebody doesn't kill the fly that's flying around here, I may lose my mind. It's driving me crazy. Sorry. we can all sit down with Dan and Gretchen and just kind of set our expectations for the professionals as far as billing and stuff, so that they're not overcharging us, and then we're not passing that on to our residents. So if you all are okay with it, I'll set meetings in the next couple weeks. Is that good? Thanks. All right, go ahead, sorry.
409 General Government Building, that is up 30,000. 10,000 of that is because we're budgeting for a new sign out front. That definitely has a little bit of a glitch in there.
I was just thinking that too. Just a little bit.
Complete blue raster is a little more than a glitch, but
Little glitch.
Minor issue, right?
there's no product support for that product anymore. So.
Which it's not even that old.
No, it's
Just-
not. It's only about 2 or 3 years. Is that
it's
a
greater than that.
stink
No,
bug
it's
or a
probably like
fly?
5 years, right? It's probably about 5 years. We are being overrun by bugs. Like, I'm starting, there's a stink bug now.
Also,
I
under
don't actually
there,
remember, do you?
increase the utilities, and I increased that to include the new Public Works facility. So those are up, and then that's basically all, and that, why that's up.
So that's an increase from 2023 of $31,604 based on,
Well, you have 5,200 is in salary of the cleaning person.
how much? 5,200.
Yep. For the sign under capital outlay. And then the utilities. .410 police, the first section of it is mostly contractual. Most everything is contractual, actually, and then you have, you know, office supplies, your postage, things of that nature. There's slight increases there. Department allowance is up slightly. Ammunition's the same, vehicle parts is the same. Internet is up, just because the price of the faster internet that they need is higher. Radios and maintenance, we're budgeting less for. Office machine rental, we do have a new copier that's coming in. It has not, you guys did vote and approve the new lease, but the machine hasn't made it in yet because of supply chain issues. So hopefully that'll be in soon.
These special details, Sean, is this where range hired our police? They paid us.
Anything that reimbursed township, so, for example, I send extra officers out for Halloween, that's on the township's side, but if it's traffic control or construction details, Hildgarden Inn hires us for weddings, that's all reimbursed overtime.
Okay.
The football games, we're assisting with Cannonsburg now, they don't have enough officers, so they ask us and Canamac does reimburse us for that.
Go ahead, Cindy, sorry.
Fire 411, as we had stated earlier, this is expanded from what you're used to seeing. Mac and I unfortunately haven't had enough time to sit down and go over everything for what he needs. So what I did is based on what bills we've been paying since August, I was able to put those in line items based on what we've paid. But I know there are some items that we haven't paid yet. I know there are vehicle payments that we haven't made and other items that we haven't been able to do yet. So what has happened is there is $272,400, it's on page 11, that still needs to be put into line items. So since I haven't been able to sit down with Mac and said, okay, you need 50,000 for vehicle payments, you need this amount for this, just as a bookmark and to keep that money in the fire department area, I put that under, and I just picked a line item that was already there. I just put that there to keep it there so that it doesn't go into anybody else's department. So that money is not, it will end up after this, hopefully we can sit, he's off next week, so it's gonna be in the beginning of November. We'll sit down and we'll put that into line items. So that number will be moved into different line items as soon as I know what they are.
He had a family emergency over the past couple weeks and has been in and out of the department, so we're gonna give him a little bit of grace and let him sit down with Cindy in November.
What does that volunteered step-it mean?
That's
Being
what she was just, oh, that's that money we give at the end of the year. So remember, we give money at the end of the year, that they can use.
As the first one, he's using that
36.
Yeah, they actually have people that are coming into the station.
Oh, right, paid.
Yeah, they're doing maintenance work and.
It's
different
called
items.
duty shifts. They're doing duty shifts. So they're doing stuff in the station to, so that they're in the station in the event that there's a call, and in the event that there's a call, they're the first ones, they can jump on the truck and get it out the door. You notice if you happen to drive by Muse, a lot of times they're outside washing the truck or doing something like that. They're not just hanging out there, they're being paid to be there on a.
So is that what they're paying them? As far as the step-it, is that the $4,000 that?
Well, they don't pay them like a straight $4,000, it's per hour. And I
Yes,
don't,
but I'm saying that you got it in there as the YE forecast, but then next year you're figuring on 36,000.
well, yeah, because we didn't start it until
That-
August.
Yeah, we didn't start that until this month,
August.
actually.
Yeah.
September.
Yeah, we just started the program within the past month or so, but next year it'll be done for a full year, not just for a couple months.
Now, is Muse the only one doing it?
No, they're all doing it. So,
So all three of them are doing it.
I got a question on this telephone and cell phone, went from 504 to 20,000.
Well, 504 was just, you gotta remember, it's just for what you have this year. You're gonna have a couple months this year versus 12 months next year.
right.
So the year-to-date for this year are gonna be low amounts.
For the fire department, because we've only been paying their bills for 2 months.
So it's an increase of $19,496.
It's not really an increase, because from January through August, we gave them the money and they paid the bill. From September, October, November, December, which really it's just September and October, we're paying the bill. So it's just a reallocation of money. It's misleading because it makes it look like there's a huge increase. There's not. Their payments are still staying the same. If they were paying $500 per department for cell phones, that's what that's remaining. It's just instead of them writing the check, we're writing the check. It's just accounting.
Okay, this might be it's a question. The $165,000 that we were given each department, now what we're doing is we're going to keep that, and this is where this is going to come out of that money, right there.
Yep.
Okay, so if we start adding all this up, this is going to probably be a lot more than what we would have normally given them. I don't know that.
It's not a lot more.
I've started to do this,
Yeah.
but
It's not a lot more, but it is, I think it will be more. I do think that the fire department budget will grow over the years based on needs. But it allows us to allocate the money to them based on what they need instead of just giving them a lump sum and having them buy their own. And there's efficiencies to be had by buying for 3 departments or
yes,
paying cell phones for
definitely.
3 departments instead of like each one doing their own thing.
So that's the reason why all these increases are for the 2023 request, is we're just really based on that what was paid
For a
the
couple
last
months.
couple months.
Plus, there's like the foreign fire money that's in here. Let me find it.
411,540.
That's 128.
Yeah, 125.
That was always there. That the township receives that money and has to give it to the fire relief associations. So in reality, that 872, you have to reduce it by 125,000 because that's always been there. The township has always paid their workers' comp.
Yeah.
So you should reduce that 33.6 from there. So,
So that should be reduced.
Not reduced. It's just when you're looking at the money that we're giving them, some of the things that run into or that are being rolled up into that, we've always paid. We've always paid workman's comp. We've always paid for some stuff. So it's gonna look like we're giving them more money than we have in the past. Right now, we're not. It's just we're combining things that we've always paid for with money that we used to give to them that we're now paying for. So in the end, it's net neutral. Like it's the same as it was last year. It's not changing.
Aren't these figures gonna be off since one fire department isn't turning none of their bills in?
Well, at some point, they're gonna have to turn their bills in, otherwise,
You've been talking, he won't.
I know. But at some point, they're gonna have to, or they're gonna not be able to participate in the fire service. I mean, it's that simple.
Ron, the city has factored in the anticipated cost for all 3 departments.
But understand, like, we're not gonna pay late fees. Like, if they hold their bills
Right.
because they're being stubborn or they don't have time or whatever, and they don't get them over to us to get paid, we're not gonna pay their late fees. We're here 5 days a week. You know, there's plenty of ways to get them over to us to get paid.
You even offered to bring them down.
I did offer to bring them over. And so, but in any case, if they accrue late fees, that's out of their own donation money or whatever they need to do to reimburse us, because we're not gonna start taking on late fees.
So that 411,238, the building supplies, is an estimate of $1,000. It's a forecast for the rest of the year.
It's gonna be off. Give it a little bit of patience next year, because we've never done it before.
But what is that building supplies? Is that
Mops.
toilet tissue?
Yeah,
and-
mops, brooms,
Okay.
cleaning stuff.
So that's
could
among
even
the
be like toilet
three
paper.
departments?
Yeah, that's what she said.
Okay. And the same way with the accounting firm, the accounting services. 6,400 is an estimate for the forecast for the rest of this year.
Yeah, so they get grant monies, so they have to be audited because they get grant monies. So just like we're audited, they're audited. Not every department, but they will be if they get grants, so that's what that's for.
Okay, so that's 352. I guess that's the same way with the insurance package too, the 411,352. $12,500 is a forecast.
Right, because keep in mind, that's just for September, October, November, and December.
Right,
Yeah.
so then we're gonna, 50,000.
Right.
Okay, so what we gotta make sure is that we don't go way over what we were giving them
I mean, we shouldn't.
each individually.
We shouldn't, because we were giving them that money and they were giving us financial reports that showed like, hey, we use taxpayer money to pay for all these things.
if you take the 872 the total for the 2023 request, 872,000, and subtract out the year end from 2021 of the 278,000, you get 594,000.
Which is what we gave them. Yeah. Honestly, Darlene, just like Sean and Bill do with their departments, if Mac's getting towards the end of the year and he's running short in like money in certain line items, he's gonna have to cut off the spending. The same way Sean does and the same way Bill does. So Mac will be responsible for the fire department budget and making sure that he doesn't spend all his money in the beginning of the year and then doesn't have anything for the end of the year.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Cindy.
So far this year, the fire tax fund is 590,000. So it'll easily be 594 by the end of the year. So I believe you'll be fine.
Yeah, I do too.
Ambulance 412 is the same as it's been. 414, planning and zoning, get 413 and 414, basically go hand in hand, code enforcement, planning and zoning. Everything's basically the same. I don't know if anybody really has any questions there.
I have one other one about this foreign fire. What is this, a foreign fire?
Foreign fire are all fees that are collected from insurance companies operating within the state of Pennsylvania. That money is dispersed then to volunteer fire companies throughout the state. The state has designated the townships have to be the intermediary to receive that money. Township can't do anything with it. We receive it, we disperse it evenly to the 3 departments. We're required by law to do that within 30 days of receipt. That's what that is.
It's a wash through
It's
our
always,
account.
it's always appeared on our budgets, but that's, if you want to
Okay.
know the background of
I was just wondering what
Yeah.
foreign fire tax.
yeah, they call it foreign fire, and I guess it's because it's companies foreign to Pennsylvania that are, practicing, selling insurance, and that's where that money is derived, given to the state. It's dispersed to all the volunteer fire departments.
Go ahead, Cindy.
Okay, 413 and 414, like I said, they go hand in hand. I left money in to finish the comprehensive plan because I'm not sure that it'll be finished by the end of this year.
It should be. It's on the agenda. Jack and I were just talking about it today. It will be on the November agenda. So we're still moving that forward.
Okay.
Do you think it will be done this year?
I think we might go a little into January, but fingers crossed, we're moving in that direction.
Let's try and get it
We
done.
are. We are moving it as quickly as we possibly can.
Yes.
You see what Ridgeville did tonight? For their comprehensive plan? They got them big tents up down there, they got bands and everything.
Had a party.
Come in and fill out what you think about the comprehensive plan.
Not a bad idea.
Who's doing that?
Bridgeville.
Ridgeville,
Oh, Bridgeville.
where Fleet Cars used to be.
Yeah, okay.
We did a survey, we surveyed the residents.
Yeah, we sent them out. We had very low response, but we sent them out.
School crossing guard, 419, half of that gets reimbursed from the school district, but that's his salary.
I want to go back one. These fire inspections, you got $10,000, isn't that Mac's job?
Should be.
It is, but what, I don't understand your question, though.
Why is there another 10,000 when we're already paying you?
No, it doesn't get paid to him. That money doesn't go to him.
Who's it go to?
The fire, or,
Some of the municipal consultants are doing some of the fire inspections.
yeah, what's his name? We're changing that. But, so that'll probably be lower. But, right, until we hired Mac last year, we weren't doing them in-house. Now we are.
What, fire inspections?
That doesn't go to Mac, though. That's like if we hire an outside company to do it.
So he's getting 275,000 and 10,000, Harold.
No, what's 275 for? Oh, you're talking about building inspections.
Says building inspections.
Yes.
That's what he's getting?
Yep, based on the budget. That'd be something we should talk about too, when we sit down and talk
Big
about
time.
professional services. Because,
You know what I said, we need to hire somebody in-house.
so what we need to consider, I don't disagree. What we need to consider is the cost to hire somebody in-house. Could we find somebody in-house, and what's the liability on the township? Should they miss something? Because if Harold makes a mistake right now, it's Harold and his company that's on the hook for liability, not Cecil Township. So we can definitely list that in the things that we talk about when we reevaluate professional services.
Okay, so we budgeted $300,000 for building inspections.
Yes.
198,000 is still a forecast for that,
For what? Right, we budgeted that we would would have to pay out $300,000 for building inspections. Our year-end forecast right now would be, if things stay the same from now through the end of December, we're only gonna actually pay out 198, which is actually more in line with how 2021 ended.
so we're decreasing it by 25,000 down to 275,000 for 2023. And are those building inspections done?
But keep in mind, we don't do building inspections.
I know we don't,
So
but
that's money that we bring in and then pay to Harold, Harold Ivory's company. So that's what Ron was saying, like, if we want to reconsider it, that's $198,000 that would have been brought into the township as straight cash to us. But keep in mind, we then have to pay our own building inspector, we have to provide him with a car, we have to make sure they have training and licenses, we have to make sure they have liability insurance, all of that stuff. So we have to look at everything and make sure that by the time we pay that person, that it's actually financially beneficial to us. Because we don't want to say, we're not going to use Harold's company. I'm not opposed to looking into this, I'm just saying to consider everything. When we don't want to use Harold's company anymore for building inspections, we want to bring it in-house, so that it actually costs us more than we thought. So we can definitely look at it.
are these building inspections from the time that they start building these buildings, or?
Don't even inspect them.
They're supposed to
Thank you.
be. Yeah, they're supposed to be.
Call
What,
them Ride by Harold.
Pardon me?
They call them Ride by Harold.
Well, that's what, I heard that. That's why I'm questioning it, Ronnie. You want the job?
yeah, I mean, this is not something to talk about in the budget, because right now that's the situation that we have. But if we want to we can definitely look into the financial.
Seems like an awful lot of money.
Right, but keep in mind, like, I don't know what the salary of an average building inspector is, but I'm guessing.
As long as he's doing his job, he'd be worth it. But if he's not, is he out there doing the job like he's supposed to? Is he, Ronnie?
Right, and that's a problem, but keep in mind, though, the liability falls on the township too. So if we hire somebody who does make a mistake, whether it's because he's not doing his job or he is doing his job, we have to take out liability insurance. So we have to look at the whole picture, plus we have to pay health care and all that kind of stuff too. I'm not saying don't do it, I'm just saying keep in mind that it's not necessarily, hey, we're gonna fire.
Maybe we should be looking at another firm.
Yeah, we could do that too. Put it out
Rather
to
than
bid.
us taking on the liability, look at another firm and see what they would.
We could put out an RFP for it, a request for proposal, and see what we get. Wouldn't hurt.
I mean, right now, we have to start cutting back. We have to start tightening our belt and see where we can save.
Why do we need to see?
South Fayette does it, and when they get a big commercial job, they bring in a company to do it.
A consultant, right? Is that right?
They come in
Yeah.
and do the inspections
Yeah, okay, they're right.
on any commercial building. All the houses, they do.
Go ahead, Cindy. We were on Animal control,
Animal control is contractual.
Wait a minute, where are we at now?
that's
Animal
422,
control.
422.
425, we're starting, well, there's nothing there. Recycling. 426, that is leaf recycling and some tire recycling.
Okay, I got a question before we move on to recycling. Health and Human Services. The forecast, there's nothing budgeted. The forecast is that you're gonna get $5,397 paid out or whatever, with a zero for 2023. I just have a question for that. What is Health and Human Services Welfare?
We paid out something, I'd have to go back, and I don't know that I have,
I don't remember what that was either, do you?
I'd have to pull it up to see what we paid out.
The year end of 2021 was 140,000. Budgeted last year was nothing, but yet the forecast by the end of the year is 5,397, and there's nothing forecast or nothing in the budget for
It might have
2023.
been the demolition, part of the demolition or something. Hold on, let me pull up, see what we paid out.
Was it the French Club?
Yeah,
Demolition, emergency demolition.
it might have been. That sounds like what we paid to Joe Stewart.
Was it emergency demolition?
No, it's something that we paid out to Pittsburgh Public Supply and Safety, so it was something with, in February, so it had something to do with COVID.
You can pull,
You know, them signs you got on Coomer, are they rented?
Was that the cleaning of this building?
No?
oh yeah, it might have been.
Sprayed.
She can pull it. You don't have to hang on it. She'll pull the invoice and get us an answer.
Okay, I was just wondering the way that,
Yeah, it's a valid
That's
question.
not a normal line item that we're.
No.
It has something to do with, in that time period, it has something to do with COVID.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, you can keep going.
Okay, 430, Public Works. Beginning line items are all covered by contractual.
right, but how many, it shows here, salary foreman, how many foremen do we have beside our main guy over there?
We have 2 foremen,
Okay,
the Public Works Director. We have 1 Public Works Director, 2 foremen.
okay.
And we budgeted for additional,
Yeah, there's a,
public works employee?
Yeah.
Upcoming year?
yeah.
We have budget, yeah, we have in the budget for 1 additional Public Works employee for next year.
And when's he supposed to be hired?
As soon as we vote to approve the budget, so maybe November. Or we'll advertise in November.
I'm hoping to get authorization tonight to advertise. If we
You
could.
can't tonight because it's not a voting meeting.
Oh, it's not a voting.
No, it's a workshop. So the soonest we could do it is to authorize you to advertise at our November board meeting. Yeah, but I think we're all ready for you to do it. It's just a timing thing. But yeah, ASAP.
Is he gonna have to, is he required to have a CDL license? He has to do, he or she has to get it on their own, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
prerequisite to the job.
Just asking.
Class A, right?
Yes.
Do you have a CDL?
Darlene, are you gonna apply?
Yep. Sure am. I'm taking my CDL tomorrow. I just got my birth certificate and my driver's license and everything. I'm taking it tomorrow.
Good luck. We hope you pass.
Shop supplies, we actually decreased that. That's for like nuts and bolts and items they need in the shop. Fuel is increased. We all know fuel's a area for all of us.
Yep.
Everything else, though, there is basically the same. 432, winter maintenance. Unfortunately, the price of salt has gone up.
We do have some in stock though, right?
I do, I have, I wanna say probably about 1,800 tons
Oh, okay.
Good bit.
on hand right now. So, then our budget, calculated based on our expected purchase of 4,000 tons throughout the course of the winter. And salt jumped this year from 65 a ton, 77.21 a ton.
Ouch.
And back in 2013, when I started with Cecil Township, salt was 38 a ton.
This is what I was just talking to a resident about, like, everybody, you know, you don't want to raise taxes, and we've done a good job, and this is a balanced budget too, so I don't anticipate raising taxes, but like, to provide the same level of service, residents are paying the same taxes, and our cost for things like salt and hot mix and cars and equipment just continues to rise.
Plus you got more highway.
Right. So like when you're saying, Darlene, we have to, I'm not trying to start a fight here, but when you're saying we have to tighten our belt, we do every year.
Yeah, so in 10 years, the price will double for salt.
Right, for sure. Sorry. Okay, go ahead, keep going.
Traffic control devices, 433. Street signs, we're leaving at 12,000. We are increasing traffic signal repairs because the cost of traffic signals is going up.
Shocking.
436, stormwater supplies, we're leaving at 20,000. 437, repairs of tools and machinery. Parts for the trucks have gone up, so we're looking at an increase there. Maintenance, repairs of roads, 438. The asphalt, the price of asphalt has increased, so we're looking at 50,000 more there. Road construction, the Capitol Road project, we're looking at a $1 million road project for next year. No, there's no specific project in mind as far as I know of, but that's what's available for the road project. Parks,
So last year, we didn't have anything for road programs, did we?
We did bridges last year.
Pardon me?
We made a decision to do bridges last year instead of roads because we were, Bill and Dan and everybody felt like we were caught up enough on roads, and we had some bridges that needed major repairs. So that's why we did the $700,000, because that was for, what was it, 3 bridges that we did?
And we did seal coating at South Point Boulevard.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
just-
so this year, we're done with that, bridges, we're moving back into the road program, which will be allocated.
What about Coomer Road? I'm getting calls all the time about Coomer Road, why is that? Are we able to fix that at all, or is that gonna be done something with, when Burnside comes down onto Muse Bishop, and also,
There was some preliminary design considerations, the gateway put together, some options there at varying cost levels. I think it's a matter of sitting down with Gateway and.
Burnside's closing next week, right?
Pardon me?
Yes,
Burnside's closing next week.
yes.
Yes.
And that intersection work will be done.
From there to Pap Road.
so it's gonna be closed, okay, so is that even feasible to repair that Y on to go up Coomer? So in other words, the other one that goes up to the right instead of to the left, are they going to be able to get to the top here and make a left-hand turn?
One of the designs that I would say to sit down and look at involved a fill situation, backfilling that under vertical right there coming off of East Bishop Road, and realigning at the stream down there, the radius of that turn coming up on it to more closely align with Burnside Road, so that you could make a left or right turn off of Burnside. So currently, you have an under vertical situation as you at the approach.
But you're talking Burnside onto,
I'm talking
Coomer.
onto Burnside.
oh, Coomer onto Burnside.
I know,
On the
Coomer
Moose
onto Muse Bishop.
Bishop.
Okay.
there's an under vertical right there. It doesn't allow you to make a left turn.
So you'll never be able to make a left-hand turn
Can make it.
It can make it.
when you get it done?
It could be done.
Fill
You
that-
got a bigger cab than me. You got a crew cab, right?
Yeah.
That, bend down below,
Okay,
to be able to do it.
all right.
We're working,
Is that potentially in the near future or anything for
Yeah.
to do that?
That was identified as one of the projects we
Yes.
addressed this issue.
yes.
We're knocking them down. We've had some big projects that we've had to take care of. Creedmoor Bridge,
Ridgewood Bridge.
Ridgewood Bridge, On Road, Railroad Bridge, Coleman Road, slope stabilization. So we've been knocking off some fairly decent sized projects. And that's one that's sitting out there that I expect we'll get to this coming construction season. So again, we have to get the gateway and we'll review those designs.
On the north DePauli intersection also, that's one that has that's been far too long.
Yep.
But those will both be addressed in the spring.
People have been asking me about Coomer. I tell them we're working on a design and that our anticipation is that we will have a project ready to go in the spring of 2023.
Never gonna open Y again.
All they want to be able to do is come up and either go left or right.
That's it. That's just
You can
exactly.
actually do it now.
Right.
Well,
Right, you can, but not,
you
but
can, but you
like,
can't, because if Sean Bukovinski's sitting up there, he's gonna make some money off you if you make that left-hand turn.
yeah, yeah. But as long as we get them to be able to come up and make a left or right, that's all they want. So I'm not promising.
That's what they want.
Right.
Because they're going all the way around, either back to Glass Hill or they're going out,
Chiffon.
Chiffoni Road, well, Cowden Road down over
Yeah,
and come out at the bottom.
yep. In any case, we are working towards it, towards spring of 2023.
Okay.
Go ahead, Cindy, sorry.
Parks, 454. Not a whole lot of change there to mention, actually. We'll have 2 seasonal, maybe 3 next year. Park improvements, I'm not sure what, again,
We'll put mention on park improvements. If there's stuff that the board has in mind for the park.
You do a great job. So whatever you think.
There's just a couple of minor things, some roofs that have to be replaced on the stage and off the building.
You and your guys do an awesome job, so I don't have anything to say. Unless you need somebody to drive a zero turn, I enjoy driving a zero turn. I'll put my AirPods on and drive around I'll drive around for you. Just, you have to take care of my kids, though. You can deal with my kids and I'll listen to some music and cut grass. Anyway, sorry.
456 libraries, contributions to the libraries are remaining the same. 457 civil and military contributions. I increased that slightly. That's for Memorial Day, that's for the Muse fireworks, things of that nature. Debt principal, 471, debt interest, 472, that's the bond payment and interest.
Holy bananas, were we lucky that we took out a bond when we did with the way interest rates are right now. Because we would never get a bond of that magnitude with that payment right now.
481 unemployment compensation, that's what. Based on salaries. Pension and uniform pension, non-uniform pension, that's based on the MMOs that you approved back in September. You do get some money in from the state to help offset that. The 457 pension plan, you have a contractual obligation for Public Works on that. Workers' compensation insurance, I increased that over the year end forecast just based on, if there's an increase there. Same with the general liability insurance. Seems like insurance always goes up, never comes down. And that brings us to expenses of $12,429,581. So we, right now, at the way the budget is, we do have more revenues coming in next year than expenditures.
So,
Good thing.
so we have 12, hold on, I'm gonna do the math really quick. So we have, oh wait, that can't be right. 12,559, 861 minus 12,429, 581. So we have $130,000 extra. So if there's, I would love to see some more parks improvements, but between now and the next budget workshop, if you have a suggestion for where that extra $130,000 should be, or you'd like to see it allocated, can you email it to Cindy and Dawn so we can potentially include it in the budget meeting? My goal would be to not have to have 3 budget workshops. If at this point we have a better than balanced budget, we actually have a surplus right now. So my goal would be to wrap it up at our next budget meeting so that we can vote on it. When is our next budget meeting?
Okay, I just have some questions, being that I had gotten so many phone calls and private messages in regard to that write-up, the audit information that was put in a paper at $1,608,899 that was in a paper. And then, also, are we in debt for that $1,608,000? Well, who put that in there? I know that Don Januso's name is on it as manager. Township is,
So I have can I read this from the auditor? So I tried to explain it because I know there was a post on an anonymous site that people were saying that. So people weren't understanding what I'm saying. It's an accounting thing. Assets and liabilities are not the same as like cash and debt. So if you have $20 and you in your pocket and you go buy something that costs $30 and you pay $20 in cash and you use your credit card for $10, that's cash and debt. Assets and liabilities are not the same from an accounting perspective. Other than to go to business school, I don't know how to explain it. It's one
all
of
right,
the
now
first
here's the
things.
thing, though. Who
Well,
put
here.
that in a paper?
The auditors, and here's why.
Okay, well, if
Hold on,
the
hold on.
auditor put it, okay.
I'm gonna read what he wrote. So I
Okay.
asked him to explain.
Okay,
So, go
but
ahead.
here's the thing. Do we get, as a board members, do we get a copy of the audit?
Yes, it's here. You can
Okay, can I get a copy of it? Do I
You
come
can't get
down?
a copy to leave the building, but you can come look at it at any point.
So it's the copy that the auditors,
Can I read you really quick? Maybe it'll answer your question. And
Sure.
then you can explain. He said, the publication of financial information is as required shown on the government-wide statements. This presentation includes all of the township funds combined, including general fund, capital project fund, street lighting fund, fire hydrant fund, fire tax fund, park fund, capital park fund, road machinery fund, capital recreation fund, and liquid fuels. The decrease in net position of $1,608,899 is mainly effect of the land purchase of roughly $1.2 million during the 2021 out of the capital projects fund and other capital expenditures. If they look at Exhibit 4 of the financial statement, which is in the audit that you can look at, they can see that the general fund for normal operations has a net change in fund balance of $5,354. So we actually, at the end of the year, last year, had an extra $5,354 that we didn't spend.
5,354.
Yeah, that was their difference in our actual account balance. So we didn't, not only did we not take on or take out $1.6 million in debt, we ended the year positive, over $5,000. I would recommend pointing people towards Exhibit 4 and note the general fund is the fund they should be looking at, as it consists of normal operations which exclude capital purchases. We do have debt. We took out an $8.5 million bond for the purchase of that property. That is debt.
I thought it was 10 million.
No, we took out an $8.5 million bond.
8.5 million.
Yeah,
10 million what's on social media.
right.
Well, I don't know where that came from, but
Me either. We took out,
I thought it was from Tommy that said that he was, when they first started.
no. We
What'd you
took-
say, Ron?
I said it's on the laughing stock said that.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. We took out an $8.5 million bond. Of the money that we've spent so far, $1.2 million was for the acquisition of that property. So,
1.2 million.
yeah.
Okay.
So we do have debt. I don't want to like mislead anybody in that we do have debt, but the only debt that we have right now is that bond, which you'll see in our general fund as we make a $210,000 payment per year towards that $8.5 million bond. And it's what, 20 years?
It's actually more than 210, but yeah.
Well, whatever.
There's 2 payments, but yes.
Yeah, right. But it's for 20 years. We make those payments. That's a liability. We owe that every year.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Right. But
And that goes till, what, 20?
20 years. We did that.
No,
We did that, no, we took out a 20-year bond. That's
2040? How long did we
Yeah.
pay that?
Till 2041. Or we could pay it off early. We did with this building too. There's no pay off early. Yeah. But the point is, unless you understand accounting, it's actually a net change of 16.1, but I'm not going to get into that because people won't understand. Like, this building is an asset. The police cars that we own and paid for are assets. The Public Works building that they're currently in is an asset. The future Public Works building that we're building, once it's built, will be an asset. It offsets our liabilities, which are payments that we own. It is not, it is not the same thing as like credit card debt, like people are thinking. So I don't know how to say that other than to just say, look, it's from our auditor, and he says, in his words, has a net change in fund balance of a positive $5,354. So we did not spend all the money in our general fund last year. We had money to roll from one year to the next at the end of the year last year. Does that make sense? Darlene?
Somewhat.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
I know what you're trying, and that's why this, this statement of revenues and expenditures that we get every month, here, there's the general fund revenue, the general fund expenditures.
Yep.
And then there's general fund balance.
Yep.
Why is that in parentheses then? 2,018,217.
So this is what we brought in.
Uh-huh.
This is what,
We spent,
but what is this?
this is expenditures, right here. We get it from this good licensed lady over here every month.
But like, if you look at year-to-date actual, this is what's remaining. So 521 is remaining. You need to look at this one, year-to-date actual. YTD
Yeah.
actual means year-to-date actual. So
Right.
our general
Then-
fund is, and this is just compared to, this is a comparison to budget. This isn't like an actual number, but
Yeah, right, that's
it's
compared to,
$10,019,178.29. We spent $8,096,000 $8,960.99. We have a positive difference of $2,018,217 for the rest of the year. So for the last,
Why
I
do
don't
they,
know when this
but
is.
why do they put that in parentheses then?
Because it's accounting.
Because it's a.
It's accounting. It's an accounting, yeah, accounts against it. It's an accounting method. So this doesn't, it's super confusing because in real
Sure
math,
is.
parentheses means negative.
You
In
bet.
In accounting math, it doesn't.
Okay. Because
you
in my
don't
business,
look
when
at
I
this.
was in business,
you
whenever
were
I
in
seen a
touch.
negative, it made me nervous,
But
and that's what's
not a-
making me nervous.
That's not a negative. And that's not a negative. And when you're looking at this, and your business was straight cash,
Yes.
you didn't do this. You ran a cash business. This is what you want to look at. So this is what our revenue is to date. These are what our expenses. So it's $10 million in revenue, $8 million in expenditures. We have a difference of $2 million.
So we got $2 million in the bank, right?
Yeah, but we have, well, no, because, yes, but like, we have 4 months left to go.
Well, yeah, okay, when's the fiscal year close? February?
No,
No.
December 31st.
Okay, but you said 4 months.
Well,
okay,
the period
period
9.
nine.
So from this
September,
statement
October, November,
that you're
December.
looking at,
3
yeah,
months.
from this period you're looking at, which is period 9, you had 10, 11, and 12 to go. So you had 3 months to go
3
and
months.
$2 million to spend, to use. And then
Okay.
next. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but I don't like geese.
Probably outstanding.
well, let's
Talk
change
to
it.
whoever huh?
Probably there might be outstanding
Yeah,
checks on
I mean,
whatever she's looking
talk
at.
to whoever invented accounting, or go sit down and talk to Frank Fisher. He loves that kind of stuff. But this is not,
Come in and sit down with me any day.
yeah, I would
I
recommend
can
you
go
do
over
that, yeah.
reports with her, but she never has.
Then you can actually look at each account, but look at this one. YTD actual is year-to-date actual, that's
So
what you
don't
wanna
pay
look
any
at.
attention to those last remaining things.
No, because it's actually, this means we have an extra, this matches this, which means we actually have $2 million, not we're negative. Make sense?
Okay.
Okay. What she was asking, if you all want to know, is we get these reports, hold on, let me talk to the microphone. Just maybe we'll clear this up. We get these reports every month from Cindy. They're awesome, they're very detailed, but it shows us what total general fund revenues are, so the amount of money that we've brought in from taxes, which is $10,019,178.29. We have expenditures of $8,960.99. We have a general fund balance, which is actually cash in our account, of $2,018,217.30. From an accounting perspective, you have to have an offsetting line item, which means if you show an income over here of $2 million, you have to show the opposite over on a balance sheet, is how it works. And so Darlene was looking at here and thinking we were short $2 million. We're not. We actually have $2 million in the bank to get us through the next 3 months. Make sense? So when people on the internet tell you we're in debt $1.6 million, we're not. We have a bond issue of $8.5 million, but we plan for that. Like we. Right, like we could get into financial ratios, but I don't think you care about that. I mean, do you really want to know that, like all that detail? Yeah, I didn't think so. All you want to know is that we're not mismanaging money, we're not overspending every year, we're not. We're required to have a balanced budget, we do. So,
Well, we have to balance the budget at the end of the year.
Yeah.
It has to be balanced.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah. But we're not overspending what we're budgeting either. Like, I don't want people to go out, Eric Savavik said this, like, Abraham Lincoln once said, you can't believe everything you read on the internet. It's true. You can't believe what you read on the internet, and if it's in the paper, like, that's a requirement by law, but it doesn't mean we're $1.6 million in debt.
That's what really got things going, because that's when my phone started ringing off the hook, when that was in the paper.
Yeah, well, tell people to calm down, that we actually have $2 million.
You shouldn't have had your name put on there, Don. You
It's
should have had the
required.
auditor's name.
It's required by law.
Should have had the auditor, well, in care of.
They require us to post that.
Yeah, well, yeah. This, Kevin, do you have a quick question? We actually weren't gonna take questions tonight unless it's something, we take questions after the posting. If it's quick, just because we've been here for a while, go ahead. Go ahead, quickly. No, it's just a workshop.
Couple questions, change the fire departments now, fire department's still gonna go get
I hope so. We hope that they will continue doing it. In fact,
that money will be kept in there.
Anything they raise by
Yeah.
themselves is theirs.
yeah, and actually,
Anybody that makes a check out to
I'm
them is
pretty
theirs.
sure, and I don't
Anybody
want
that
to
makes
say
out a
which
check to
one,
them.
but there's one of our
Anybody
fire
that
companies
has-
that's actively
goes out of
working
a
on one
charitable
that's gonna
trust
get a
to
pretty
these
big
fire
one soon.
departments, it's theirs.
Yeah.
Next thing is, market going down, comfortable.
Yeah, we're
Given
still,
the increased value of homes in Cecil Township, yes.
yeah, we are still one of the top places to buy, build, and move to. Yeah.
And, does city get healthcare? Cause I see what the budget is under.
Her? Yeah.
My health care is budgeted under, the administration.
Yeah. Yeah, all our employees get health care.
And, two other things, and it looks like the average healthcare is like 15,000 or whatever. What the fire chiefs?
I just,
It depends on if you're on a family plan, if you're husband and wife, if you're,
It just seems like a big jump, and it's anyway, but I mean, so it's just like 15,000, fire chiefs.
well, and then also, they just have health and vision. and
Yes.
dental.
yes.
We also have, short-term disability and,
Yeah.
And last thing, I see we rolled in CDs, it's for 375.
That was the Lawrence.
Yeah, we rolled it into
Yeah.
the balance of the budget, okay?
Well, I wouldn't say we rolled it into balance the budget. No, we didn't roll it into balance the budget.
75 coming for,
So, but we added additional things, like we funded the Lawrence sewage project, we added additional things, and as you see, we have $130,000 over it.
still you rolled in 375, that's helping budget balance the budget this year. So come 2024,
Can I,
we have another CD to roll in.
we do have other
I
CDs.
mean, so you're rolling in CDs, just
That's not why we did it. We did it because we needed to fully fund the Lawrence project.
no, you said you had $1 million out there.
Right, and we couldn't come up with another way. Yeah.
And last thing is, I thought we heard at the beginning, the fire tax money, now the fire cost is like 870.
She explained that. So we had given them approximately $600,000 every year, but there were things that we paid for that weren't part of that $600,000 that we gave them. For example, workman's comp and some other things. So when you subtract the difference between the things that we already paid from that 8, and I don't have the number 8, whatever, you get to the number that we used to give them. Thank you. Yes. Oh, for fire, yeah, they give them $5,000 a year. It comes, last year it came straight from Cecil, but this year it'll come from us. I would agree with that statement wholeheartedly.
thank you.
All right, meeting adjourned. Go home to your family.
No, I understand. I'll bet you it's still.